In this video, we will introduce the concept of non-Mendelian inheritance and explore one example. Genes that follow Mendelian inheritance obey 4 rules. 1. Expression of genes in the offspring directly influences their trait. 2. Genes are passed along unaltered from generation to generation, except of course if a mutation were to occur. 3. Genes obey Mendel's law of segregation, meaning only one parental copy from each parent is inherited. And finally, 4. When more than one gene is involved, they obey Mendel's law of independent assortment. Of course, this does not work for some inheritance patterns that we witness. Here are 4 patterns that all violate one of the rules that we just listed. We will begin here with maternal effect, which breaks Rule 1, and that the genotype of the offspring does not directly govern its phenotype. The basic principle here is that the genotype of the mother determines the phenotype of the offspring. So the genotype to phenotype connection we have previously observed in Mendelian gene inheritance does not work here. Moreover, the genotype of the father is irrelevant to the phenotype of the offspring. So let's examine this inheritance pattern and then briefly examine its mechanism. The effect was first noted in snails. Snails and other gastropods that have a twisted shell show either a right-handed whorl, which is called dextral, or a left-handed whorl, which is called sinistral. Dextral is by far the most common and is dominant here. However, when we observe the inheritance patterns of the phenotypes, we see that the phenotype of the offspring is not related to its genotype, but rather to the mother's genotype. Let's look at this figure here to see what happens. In the parental generation, we see 2 different crosses that result in the same genotypes in F1. However, in one where the female is homozygous dominant, and we see all dextral offspring. When the female is homozygous recessive, we see all sinistral offspring. This is despite the fact that the offspring are in all cases heterozygotes and thus have the dextral genotype. In the F2 generation, all offspring are dextral, even though 25% of the offspring have the sinistral genotype. So in each case here, we see that the genotype of the mother is the only determinant of the phenotype. So what causes this? It's due to nurse cells during oogenesis. These diploid cells provide nutrients and gene products to the developing eggs prior to fertilization. These gene products help kickstart early development in the offspring once fertilization occurs. The direction of the curvature of the snail's body plan is determined by the very first cell division after fertilization. Thus, the gene products provided by the nurse cells are the main influence on this first cell division, and they therefore are the determinant of the direction of the snail's whorl.